My name is Stacey Kliesch, and I am the chairperson for the AIA New Jersey Chapter Equity and Architecture Committee. I am so delighted to be here tonight with two of my colleagues from New Jersey NOMA. First, I would like to introduce Taylor Latimer. Taylor is an associate member of AIA New Jersey, and she is the president of New Jersey NOMA. She works at OCA Architects in Newark, New Jersey, and obtained her Bachelor of Architecture degree from Carnegie Mellon University and Master of City and Regional Planning from Rutgers University. Taylor has various experience working in New Jersey and New York architecture firms and has worked on projects throughout the United States, including mixed use, education, residential, hospitality, industrial, and urban landscape design. She enjoys mentoring and advising the youth, and in 2024, Taylor became the president of the New Jersey chapter of the National Organization of Minority Architects. She aims to open more young minds to the idea that they have the power to shape the world they live in through architecture. Tonight, Taylor and I are going to have the opportunity to hear from one of the design specialists from New Jersey NOMA, and her name is Baina. Oh, excuse me, Baina, I didn't practice the rest of your name. Baina-Iyssa, is that how you pronounce the second part of your name?
It's Lisa, Baina-Iyssa Jean.
Thank you so much. I apologize. We should have practiced that. Who also is an associate member of AIA and a member of New Jersey NOMA. She was born and raised in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and was displaced by a 7.0 magnitude earthquake and then moved to New Jersey. 2 months into navigating the world as a refugee opened Jean's eyes to sustainability, urbanism, and architecture. Jean pursued an architectural education and received a Bachelor of Architecture from the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Since graduating, she's worked at Perrette Somjen Architects, where she's been exposed to planning, design, sustainability, construction administration in the educational sector. Taylor, I am so happy to have you here tonight. We had the pleasure of meeting last month at our in-person equity event that we held for Women in Architecture Month. Can you tell us a little bit about your role at New Jersey NOMA and what encouraged you to work with me to bring this event together tonight?
Well, so first of all, thank you for having me and for having us. So I think like our organization has been a bit quiet for some years. So as I've stepped into my role as president, my goal has really been to reinvigorate the chapter. And NOMA is meant to be a community of people that are uplifting, teaching, supporting each other within the architecture profession. So we really welcomed this opportunity to collaborate with AIA New Jersey and to not only increase awareness of the organization, but also to just build this relationship between our two organizations so that way we can really support one another, because that's the best way that we can both grow and we can all, I guess, continue to uplift each other.
Excellent. And can you tell us about the decision you made in selecting Baina to be a part of the program with us tonight?
Well, I think with Baina, I really wanted to introduce somebody who was a younger person practicing architecture. I felt like the younger generation has a lot of insight, new, exciting ideas that can be shared with a lot of the people within our two organizations. And then also just coming off of the past events that we've had in terms of women's empowerment and Women's History Month. I wanted to bring in Baina specifically as a woman of color. There's very few women of color in architecture, and so I felt like her voice was really important to hear today.
Excellent. Wonderful. Taylor, I hope you will join me in turning over the presentation to Baina now. Baina, please feel free to share your screen, and the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Stacey. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'm just going to start by saying that I'm very grateful and thankful for Stacey, Christina, and Taylor for giving me this opportunity to come and show what I do and the kind of work that I work at my office. So I'm part of Paradigms and Architects. I joined back in 2017, and it's been a great experience. I've been growing here, and they've provided me with a lot of opportunity. Currently, the firm has about 118 people working, licensed architect, interior designers. There's about 23 licensed architects, 9 LEED accredited professionals, part of our firm. That really has helped surround me and help me grow and expose me to one of the projects I'm about to share. Again, Stacey introduced me earlier. I am currently an assistant project manager at the firm. I started as an intern. I really started straight out of college, and I've been involved in multiple projects, I would say up to 7 million so far in construction, anything from roofs, interior finishes, HVAC, and classroom additions. The project I'm about to share, it's actually a classroom addition. It was the Lincoln Elementary School addition in Rockaway, New Jersey. It was one of the very first projects that I would say I was involved in from the beginning stages, design stages, and we'll dive into it and see kind of how the project came about and how it ended up in the built environment. So the population was growing, of course, and the school district needed additional classrooms. And we proposed a 3 classroom addition. And they also wanted to relocate their main office into this new addition. This is a picture of our site, pretty much. We were proposing to add the classroom addition to the side of the building and trying to make it blend in with the current material and, you know, really have a place in the neighborhood. I'm not going to bore you guys. I'm sure you know about drawings and constructions and all of that. But I provided a few photos and also some drawings just so that you guys can see and understand what I'm about to share. So to the right of the screen was the current building. And on the site, they had a temporary classroom unit. And where that TCU unit was is pretty much, it was the ideal location for us to come in and have our addition and connected to the staircase of the existing school. So through the process, we've planned ahead. Part of this project was going to take place while school was in session. So the first step for us was to relocate that TCU. The district couldn't afford to lose any space just because, again, the student population was growing. So it was relocating the TCU at another portion of the site that would allow to free the space that we needed to build the addition. This were a few plans and elevations that I personally worked on. Again, I was very grateful to get the opportunity to really design and start this project from the beginning, from the inception. I would say we started back in 2019, and it takes a long time to build a project from the ground up. So really, we ended up breaking ground in June 2020, which was very interesting. It was one of those challenges. We all know COVID happened in March. We actually went out to bid through the public bidding process in March of 2020. But again, with the team and everybody's effort, we were able to put out a good set of drawings and have, you know, the typical bidding process, contractor bidding a project and awarded a contractor with the district. These are a few images going from foundation all the way to building the walls and eventually the roof for the project, doors. more photos showing mock-up of the walls, trying to match the brick. Again, we really wanted it to look like it belonged there and not disrupt the neighborhood. And we try to match the brick color, the grout color, and all of that so that it would blend seamlessly into that street that it was located on. Again, a few images just showing progression through construction, window installation, pipe for unit ventilators, RTUs, ductwork, lighting, you name it. And here we were starting to get more into the finishes, really seeing it, coming out of the ground and looking like a finished product with paint, tiles, and windows, and all these wonderful things that make up a building components. Of course, there were a few bumps in the road. It happens a lot in construction. The first image to the left, the excavator was in fact inside of the foundation, and it was time for it to get out, and it kind of cracked our foundation wall. You can kind of see it in the second image. If I may, let me go back a few. That first image, we can see it right in the middle. It's means and methods. You can't tell the contractor how to do it as long as it gets done. And you just have to be careful, because it's one of those things that we didn't really realize what had happened. We're not on site every day as architects. We do field observation. And it was during one of my field observation that I noticed, the crack here in that second photo. Another one was the brick, matching the color of the brick. While we thought we picked the right color, new brick and old brick, differ slightly. It might be the same exact brick, but once you have it on site, you could see the difference. So that was a lesson learned, and something that now I keep in mind when working on a project. There were a few water infiltration issues with the rain. Truly, it happened right from the beginning once we started digging. But once we passed kind of like the first 3 feet of the wall, we were fine, we were sealed, but it's one of those things that unfortunately happens. There were a few finishes that were hiccups. What we approved as part of the submittal is not necessarily what gets installed. So I would say in construction, you just always have to cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure that what you approved is what gets installed. The district wasn't too upset with the tile pattern, so that was great. They didn't have to remove it and reinstall the correct tile pattern. But it was, again, one of those lessons learned. I almost had a personal heart attack when I went on site, and I'm looking at the tile. I'm like, I'm not sure that this is the one that we approved. And running back to the office and checking the submittals, making sure everything's okay, and writing kind of like an email immediately that I just did a field observation. I'm not too sure what went wrong. But all of these things are lesson learned. They help you grow as a professional and how you handle and manage them. Eventually, the building is built. It's functioning currently. I have the opportunity to actually go and see the client. It's still one of our clients. We still have multiple projects with them. So it's one of those rewarding projects. And I always refer back to it. Even nowadays, like working on different projects and things like that. I would say in addition is a combination of all type of projects: roof, HVAC, windows, site, you name it. If you build an addition, you kind of get exposed to almost all aspects of construction and design. Again, it was a classroom addition. Here are some shots of the classrooms. I think these shots were taken maybe a couple months after opening. And, the space has been lived in a little bit. More photos. the famous bathroom with the wrong tiles. But it's okay. It's just something that I don't know. Most people won't know. The kids love it. The faculty enjoys it, but I will always know. And the main office that got relocated into the addition. These are a few of the shots. And that's really all I have. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions or comments. They're all welcome.
Stacey,
My dog was barking, so I muted my microphone. So both of you work for award-winning firms that are very highly respected in New Jersey. And being that you have the opportunity to work with colleagues of note and work on projects of significance, could you each of you give me a little bit of an idea of how your office collaborates and what kind of community interface you might have on any of your projects?
Yes, sure. I can start. So pretty much from joining the firm, it really felt like a family. It might sound very cliche. Even myself, I was like, there's no way that these people are nice. Like, we're architects. I've seen the movies. There's no way. But truly, you can sense this warmth in everyone and just trying to help and really make a better project. And because everyone has that in them, it's very, your success is my success. So we typically have studio teams where we have a licensed architect that kind of like oversees and makes sure that, everything's according to code and we're going the right direction, deadlines, what the client wants and everything. And you would have a project manager, an assistant project manager, possibly a job captain, and designers. And back in 2020, I was, I think, a designer level 3 at my firm. So still very learning the Revit, the CADs of the world, and having them guide me and help me make better design decisions, I would say. From school, you're designing, you're almost free. There's limited barriers for you. And the real world, you're working with budget, client wants, code, and all of that. So I would say overall, that system has benefited me a lot.
Excellent. And Taylor, what has your experience been in collaboration in your firm?
well, our firm is a bit smaller. We only have about maybe 16 people in our office. So collaboration for us is essential because there's so few of us, right? And that's one of the things I actually kind of love about my firm is that everyone's input is important. It's valuable. It's needed because when we all have to communicate, because it's all hands on deck with our projects. Everyone is willing to lend that helping hand whenever it's needed. We have an open office, so you just call across the room and can easily get help. And if one person doesn't know the answer, there'll be 5 other people that are willing to try and help you figure out what's going on and how we can work together to fix it. So I think that's really how we collaborate. Most of the time, like everyone has their specialties within the office, so we will each bring in our expertise in certain areas, and I think we build off of each other a lot. And then we have a good mixture of younger professionals and then people who have been working in the field for a long time. So the more experienced professionals within our firm really kind of take us under their wing, and they explain to us and work through the things that we might be struggling with. But I think, again, speaking to that younger generation, having different insights, new ideas, they listen to us when we if we ever push back and say, let's think about this differently. So I think we're also open-minded, which is really helpful in our collaboration.
I love it. You're both very fortunate. We had a question come in for Baina. Can you talk about what it's like having the district, a public client, as the client? Do you think it's easier or harder than other types of clients?
It's a very good question. I don't think it's easier or harder. It's a very linear process, if you will. There's, your business administrator, your superintendent, your buildings and grounds, all these people have input on how a building function, how they use it. They're the end user, what they want. They have a lot of knowledge about their communities and the students, and they really bring that to us, when we're talking to them and trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? Is it the roof that's leaking? Where is it leaking? How can we help? Why is it a problem? I mean, we know why it's a problem, but you have these conversations with them. So far, I've worked with probably a good 12 school districts, and they've all been very, very nice. It's been a very enjoyable experience, from, like I said, the inception of a project, when they come to you and they're like, this is what I'm looking to do, to sitting with them, talking budget, having a page turn, this is the design we're proposing. What do you think? Having these conversations with them. And, it might be like, oh, I need more storage, or I don't like the main office located here. I would prefer it over there. So you start having these conversations and they help inform the design. And also, the team at large, from the project architect on our team all the way to the designer, everybody interacts with pretty much everybody, I would say, when it's a school district.
Thank you. Are the projects at your firm primarily in the education sector?
Yes, we do a lot of school projects, but that's not all we do. We do hospitals, stores, corporate, warehouses, residential, almost everything. But mostly I would say we are known definitely for our work in the school districts, and having a good relationship with these clients.
Is your office set up in studios per construction sector? So like those different building types you mentioned, the studios are divided up that way?
Yes, kind of. So truly, we have the principals, Mark Perret and Greg Samjian, and we have partners. And these partners now, I would say maybe two of them are very educational driven. One is very corporate, retail, warehouses. And then from there, you get your studios. We work a lot with each other. For example, there's a project going on in Montclair at my firm, and they ask for my team to come and help them, whether it might be because of a deadline or there's a lot of work going on and they need help. Also, we have an interior design team that also helps sometimes. Again, everybody's very architecture oriented. I would say almost everybody has some sort of a design or architectural license. And we collaborate a lot and work with each other very, very often.
The project that your team collaborated in Montclair, was that also an education project?
Yes, there's actually a referendum. It's a referendum for the town, and they have multiple projects going on. And pretty much the way it goes, it's let's say you have 2 to 3 years to get these projects completed. And again, a lot of projects, and pretty much it was outsourced to my team to do 2 roofs. just to draft them, to get them to that finish line. And the interior team actually did the windows portion of the project. And, it's collaborative. It has happened even when that addition that I was just talking about, we've had people from the interior design team come and help and draft just to get it to that finish line. Sometimes it happens and it's needed. It was COVID. So it was almost all hands on deck trying to get it out as quick as possible so that people could go home. But yeah, very, very collaborative, different. It might be project, it might be by phase. So just get the bidding drawings ready, or it might be, oh, we need help in CA. We need somebody to be able to go out on site every week, wherever the need is, because of our size and the different studios, we're able to collaborate and help.
Have you always worked in the education sector at this firm?
At this firm, yes. Yeah, definitely. It's something that I enjoy. I haven't been bored of it yet. I have coworkers that have requested to be exposed to other parts of Jean Architects, whether that's corporate or retail or anything like that. And they allow that. If you have the request, if you're curious about it, if you want some exposure, they definitely allow that. But personally, I've realized that no two projects are the same. For me, it's the problem solving that's really fulfilling and exciting. So while it might be two roofs, they're completely different. Two addition, completely different. No two are the same.
I'm glad to hear that, because every once in a while, New Jersey threatens to have that model school cookie cutter design. And when I meet with people like you, it reminds me of the critical importance of addressing each school project as the unique entity as it is. A unique community of people, a unique site, a unique mission. Even though every school is educating our young people, every community has their own flavor, and it's very important to have people like you that can interpret those unique and individual needs and create a haven for the students and the teachers and the community that is unique to those people. So I love to hear that. That's terrific. Have you ever had an opportunity to interface with students in the planning of a school?
Not in the design input, if you will, but teachers, yes. Teachers, principals, they know their students and they know what they need. And it's been interesting to just communicate with the end user. The buildings and grounds, custodian, staff, definitely I've collaborated a lot with them, and even helping, for example, if for some reason we need the building to be open a little later because the contractor or somebody needs to come and survey, for example. They've been really, really great, and it's really a collaborative effort throughout, and not just architect and architecture, but also on the client side and the end user, and even the contractor and your manufacturers and all of that. Just everybody kind of like coming together to help realize whatever the project might be.
Wonderful. So other than your years at NJIT, were all of your school years in Haiti?
Yes. I went up to 12th grade. There's 13 grades really, but the 13 is kind of like a pre-college year. So I moved here in 2010. So I had completed my high school years, got my diploma, and enrolled immediately in college.
Wonderful. So having grown up in a different culture and a different country, and now working on schools in America, Can you tell us about the difference between your personal experience as a student in a school and as an architect in the schools that we are accustomed to here in New Jersey?
Yes, of course. It's very different. Different climate, different culture, different way of teaching and learning. And having now seen the other side, I would say the American side, I've learned a lot from both of them. And it helped me be a better architect. What I was doing before starting at Jean Architect, I was actually interning for a firm called FARM, FAARM. And I was able to travel to Haiti and bring them to Haiti to actually build a school. I should have known that I would be in the school industry from back in 2010 from that internship alone. But yes, having designed and seen a built school in Haiti and now designing and building school in America, it's very similar and very different at the same time. Definitely, I learned a lot from both of them. Being a student, having input on that. Sometimes we have to redesign classrooms, relocate the smart board, where can the kids have, pre-K student have a little nap time, away from the windows, not next to the heater, and things like that. Very small move, but that really make a big difference. And I would
Thank
say
you.
same in Haiti as well, like, closer to the windows because it's a warmer climate and things like that.
Right, makes sense. Taylor, I've been monopolizing the conversation. Do you have some questions?
Well, speaking of your background, like how does your unique perspective contribute to this project?
This project particularly was very interesting in terms of having a voice. And sometimes that, as a young designer, I would almost say like a baby architect at that point. I was 3 years out of school. You don't necessarily think that you have a voice, but you say, a teeny tiny thing, and you might think it's wrong, but your peer might then help direct you a little bit. For example, one of the challenges that we had was a water heater, and where are we going to place that? And trying to figure out what space and where. And it's like, oh, maybe in the custodial closet. Okay, there's not a lot of space there, and okay, can we utilize above plenum space, or can we have it in the corner? And you learn, and people will bring up the code, and this is why we can't have it here. This is why we can't have it there. But it doesn't hurt to throw out ideas. And it while it might be a scary thing at the time, it was for me. For them, it was almost kind of like finding a moment to teach me. And also, at the time, my assistant project manager, which was working on this project with me, sometimes I would throw things at him, and he would be like, "Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think of it that way. Maybe we can make it work." That heater that I was talking about, we ended up putting it in the ceiling. And trying to find ways to make it work. So while it might be a little intimidating, having a voice or proposing ideas, my advice to anyone is throw it out there. One of them might stick.
Thanks. And so you spoke of that challenge of the water heater. Was that your biggest challenge in this project, or if not, what was?
Challenge, maybe COVID. COVID came out of nowhere. It really did. And trying to put a project out to bid, through the pandemic, at the beginning when we knew nothing of it, was probably the biggest challenge. The the construction, the drawings, you're surrounded by professional, everybody knows and they can guide you, but navigating, going to work and, exposing your family or your coworkers truly, that was a challenge.
And so building off of that, right? COVID is still out here, right? But we're not dealing with it the same way we were at that time. I guess I'm wondering how that challenge how it transfers to now in terms of, you've learned things and how to get through, let's say, when everything was locked down in a sense, and how has that transferred as things have opened up?
Yeah. While COVID was challenging, I think it really opened a different way of working and working with my coworkers. I think it's extremely valuable to be in a room surrounded by other design professional. You might hear something, they might be talking about something else and, you're hearing it, you're in the space. COVID definitely opened that remote working experience and, having to just, not that I was by myself, they were always a phone call away, but it definitely pushed that. For me, it was an opportunity to grow. While in the office, I could always kind of like ask, like, hey, what is this code? And, what do I need to research? Being on my own forced me to take these steps. Not that I was being spoon-fed the information, but before calling or reaching out, I took the initiative personally to go and do the research. And then I could come to them and it's like, oh, this is what I was looking at. Am I on the right track? Should I be looking at something else? So it kind of like showed initiative, from at least I hope that my team would say that. And while also working remotely, it created a lot of trust. You had to trust your coworkers. They're doing the right thing. They're working. They are doing the best that they can and all of that. So I think that helped a lot in that sense. A lot of trust and initiative.
Thank you.
Baina, would you say that school design has changed as a result of COVID? Either are you approaching it differently or are your school clients asking for something differently because of COVID?
Yes, definitely. And whether that was right before or during and right after, a lot of HVAC projects. I know a whole lot about HVAC systems now, and the air and the air intake and the requirements for air in the classrooms, and it's something that while I knew about it, I wasn't necessarily super conscious about it. COVID changed a little bit. I would say the violence in schools have probably made the biggest change in the way that I design. Trying to keep the teachers and the students safe, and even working on a design contingent to their emergency plan. And what is that like? If something happens, God forbid, what do you guys do? What are you telling your students to do? And thinking about that, and now in designing an addition, taking that into consideration.
That's terrific. Taylor, any other questions from you?
I don't know. I might be out of questions. Actually, one thing. I've been trying to really focus sometimes, or not recently, I've been trying to focus on positives, right? And what makes us enjoy what we do as architects. So what is something that you really loved while doing this project that just made you say, like, I really love what I do. This is bringing me joy?
Yes. Definitely the problem solving, whether small or big. I can give multiple examples. The site, was not flat. Again, it's another thing coming out of school. You get the perfect site, the perfect client, the perfect budget. But having, the different elevation, one side of the site was higher than the other. And how do you solve that? How do you maintain this kind of like linear language on the facade, on the exterior with the brick? Anything from the corner that we were attaching to, there was an interior downspout that was coming out. So now you have to relocate that. Where do you relocate? How? Are you gonna go into the wall and, asbestos and lead paint and, you name it, coming up with a plan for abatement and all of that. To me, it's all in the little details and all the little things. Whether, again, it's small or big, like that excavator knocking down part of that foundation. It's like, okay, how do we resolve that? Okay, we need the structural engineer on site, please tell us something. Can we save it? Can we salvage it? It's the endless problem solving. And then in the end, you look at the product and you're like, wow, like we've come a long way, but it's functioning properly. It's working the way it's intended to. And even going back a few months later to see how the end user is using it and learning from it. It's like, okay, what could I have done better so that I can apply it for the next project? While I love this project because it was my first edition, I've worked on multiple editions since then, and I always keep going back to that one. And, it left a very memorable mark on me, and it was a lot of learning. Almost everything was new to me at the time. And it's something that you just, take on and carry on, but it's the problem solving.
I will remind any of our listeners, you are welcome to type a question into the Q&A box. We've gotten quite a few questions already, which I've shared. But if there's anyone that thinks of something else, please feel free. In the meantime, I am going to ask the two of you women, being that you are both New Jersey NOMA members and associate AIA members, what types of support have you found in New Jersey NOMA or in AIA New Jersey? And what are some things that you anticipate seeking in the future in those two organizations?
I can say for me, with AIA New Jersey, just attending the last event that you held, it was a great way to meet so many other people within the field. And I was just speaking about one of the activities that we did where we were able to introduce ourselves and talk about like our claim to fame, right? And it allowed us to each kind of maybe brag on ourselves just a little bit. I don't think we do that enough sometimes, but also it gave the opportunity to say, oh, okay, here's a person that I want to know because they have a skill that either I'm trying to work on or it maybe I can bring them in on a project or whatever it is. So that's something that I really love is that networking aspect. And that event also, it was a learning event too. We were learning about different materials and finishes and just anything related to that location, what they offered, right? And so little things like that are always helpful. Like, you take mental notes and you take pictures, and those are all good things to kind of keep in your memory bank. So that has been something that that's what I've been able to take, right, from my interactions with AIA, and then with NOMA. NOMA is like my family, I say a lot of times. They're my support system. I feel they are, what do you say, like confidants, the people who can lift you up a lot of times. And also, they have given a lot of advice, mentoring. I know people who have been able to find jobs or even places to stay when they go to another area or city. They can, there's different chapters of NOMA, right? There's city chapters and there's state chapters, and people have been able to interact with other people and make connections and know that they have a home somewhere, because NOMA is everywhere. So that level of support for me, that's what I've been able to get out of NOMA.
I love that.
I would say it's been an interesting shift for me. In school, in architecture school, I was very not into organizations. I was very reluctant to join anything or be part of anything in that matter. And now as a young professional, like I enjoy it. I enjoy, having other architects to talk to. A lot of my friends are not architects. I remember trying to explain my final project to my parents and no idea what I was doing, what I was talking about. So slowly but surely, that has opened me up a little bit to organization and just seeing, people that are like-minded, they also enjoy architecture. And with AIA New Jersey chapter, like it's been a lot of resource that I didn't know I needed, but I needed, that have been available to me. And NOMA, it was more the community aspect, like Taylor mentioned, and just giving back. And one of the things that I enjoy a lot is the project pipeline that NJNOMA does with the kids, and just opening them up to architecture. And that even kind of like made me realize I do have a thing for teaching. I do enjoy it, whether that's in the office, with my coworkers or new hires and showing them the ropes, or, something like a 7-year-old who's interested in architecture. So both organizations, being in New Jersey and being available to me, definitely helped open me up a little bit. I'm not sure if I was too harsh, too hard, my younger self, but now as I've been in the profession for about 8 to 9 years. It's been great to just have both communities truly, and the lines blur. A lot of our NJNOMA members are part of the AIA, and just talking to them and them opening doors for us truly. It's just been wonderful.
Glad to hear that. I've been the chairperson of the Equity in Architecture Committee since it was founded, I guess it was about 5 years ago. And although New Jersey is an extremely diverse state, we have people from all over the world, and compared to other states, we are an extremely international community. AIA New Jersey continues to be primarily white people, and we have not had the success at increasing not only diversity in our membership, but diversity in our voice. And one of my goals as the equity chair has been to try to keep my eyes and ears open for ways that AIA New Jersey can be a place where anybody feels that they can be recognized and seen and heard and have a mentor, and understand that a mentor, a professional mentor, can lend a support system in whatever capacity. So, like I know when I was a young person and I first joined, I had just graduated school and I joined, and I felt very kind of disconnected. There weren't, like, I find a lot of people don't join until they're licensed. And so as a person who was just 22, I was like, what am I doing here? This is so weird to be a part of this group. And then I realized that, you know, my associations don't necessarily have to be with someone who's just like me. It could be with someone who, you know, that has, like Taylor had mentioned, when you see and hear, oh, what are other people's skill sets and what other paths did other people take? And what are some things that I can learn from that? Or maybe there's something that I can give. Like maybe they've been in the profession for a while and I'm doing something brand new that they're not familiar with because I just graduated and I just learned it. So finding those ways to give that reciprocal relationship. So it's something that we continue to foster and see as a priority at AIA New Jersey. And I'm glad that both of you are a member of both organizations because it helps me to understand, you know, what else is going on out there and what are ways that we can continue to connect with NOMA, whether it's the Manhattan chapter, the New Jersey chapter, or things that we can do to help build up the New Jersey chapter, support systems and things that we can do in partnership as you're continuing to build up and refresh the organization. So that makes me really happy and excited for the future of us having the chance to work together. And I want to, you know, you're both associate members, so I don't know if you're planning on becoming licensed, but we have a ton of resources through that channel too. And so we certainly welcome and encourage you and to make relationships with other people who are studying. Taylor, the night we were at that event that you were just talking about, there was a woman there who had been working on the exam for a very long time, and she was so frustrated and fed up, and she passed the exam in the few weeks since that night. And she just texted me last week to tell me the great news. And, you know, even if it's just someone to say, hey, I was in your shoes and it stinks and you're going to get through it. And it's great to have, like you said, your parents want what's best for you, but if they don't even understand what the heck you're doing or you're talking about, it can be hard to have that support system. So having an alliance of people who have been there and done it and can see you through to the other side, that really makes all the difference. Taylor, do you want to tell us anything that's coming up in New Jersey NOMA or ways that we could collaborate with you more in the future?
Well, we have our monthly GBMs, general body meetings, that you're welcome to attend. We would love to have you. Our next event will actually be about mental health within the architecture profession. I know that's something that that we don't always focus on, and so we really want to highlight that and talk about that.
Yes,
so
when is that? I would be very interested. When is that?
Okay, so that will be, it's their second Tuesday of every month. So that is this 14th.
And is that virtual or live?
Virtual.
Great.
Yes.
Please share, if that's okay with you, please share that link. I would love to get that out to our membership.
Yes, will do.
All right. Ladies, do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to make?
Just wanted to really say thank you, you know, for putting this event together and really organizing it. It's been a great experience. I truly enjoy it. You know, both you and Christina, it's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us and just giving us this opportunity to collaborate. So we're excited to do more.
Great, great. So in closing, I am going to mention that the next event that the AIA New Jersey Equity and Architecture Committee is going to be putting on will be on Thursday, May 30th. At 12 noon. It will be a webinar similar to this program today, but it will be at lunchtime, 12 to 1. May is Asian American and Pacific Islanders Month. And in recognition of that month, we are going to be having a panel discussion with some of AIA New Jersey members who were educated outside of the country and perhaps also working licensed in an Asian country and then had to reestablish themselves in America. So we're going to be talking about, you know, how that transition took place, what the cultural differences were, educationally or professionally, or just in working with clients. So that will also be a continuing education program, and we encourage everybody who's on the program today to join us for that enlightening program. I look forward to it. Ladies, thank you so much. It's been my delight to get to know both of you better, and I look forward to our continued relationship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.